And welcome to The Issue Is. I'm Elex Michaelson. On Monday of this week, we caught up with the head of the Republican Party, who says that California could likely determine control of Congress.
This is the most important election of our lifetime. This is it.
Ronna McDaniel, chair of the Republican National Committee, rallies volunteers at the Orange County headquarters of Republican Congresswoman Michelle Steel.
Don't forget to get out and vote. Ballots drop October 8th. Get them in early.
California's GOP chair, Jessica Patterson, joins in as they talk to voters door to door.
I've got friends in Texas that call us up all the time and just go, why are you still in California?
I know.
This national spotlight is a boost for Steel, currently locked in one of the closest races in the country against Democrat Jay Chen, a small business owner and naval reservist.
We need to turn California Republican so I can come live here.
She sat down with us for an exclusive one-on-one interview.
Ronna McDaniel, welcome to The Issue Is for the first time, and good to have you in California.
I'm so excited to be here, and I'm excited to be on your show, Elex. Thank you for having me.
All right, well, let's talk for a moment about California, because as RNC chair, you got to pick priorities on where to put your money, where to put your resources. You're putting a lot of it here in California. Talk about where California sort of lines up in the priority list nationwide.
Well, California was key to the 15 seats we gained in 2020, right? We picked up 4 in 2020 here. Our first Asian outreach office that we opened was in California in Michelle Steel's district. And we think we can not only hold those 4 seats, but we can pick up seats that will give Republicans the majority in Congress.
And of course, the Speaker of the House would be another Californian.
Correct, another Californian.
Kevin McCarthy as
well.
well.
We'll just be substituting up.
Yeah. Well, let's talk specifically policy-wise. What does that mean for the average person, the average voter in California, if there's a Republican House and Senate versus a Democratic House and Senate? What does that mean for their lives?
So Kevin McCarthy and the House Republicans just unveiled the commitment to America. And we want energy independence, which means lowering gas prices. Your gas is over $5, like $5.75 right now. We want to make sure that parents have a say in their kids' school. We want to say people have the opportunity to achieve the American dream. So many things that we're seeing. And crime is a big issue here in California. And we need to make sure we restore rule of law and protect our streets and our communities.
So specifically, what does that mean?
Giving police the funding that they need, giving them the opportunity to pursue criminals that are violent and not just putting them back on the streets, which we're seeing in LA and we saw with the recall in San Francisco. We've seen Democrats really embrace this pro-criminal culture, and I think it's being rejected by Californians.
But doesn't the Biden plan increase police funding?
The Biden plan may do that, but Democrats, attorneys general and prosecutors across the country have been decreasing. We just saw this in LA. All across the country, Democrats have embraced this defund the police, demean the police, demoralize the police. So we can understand that in DC they're going to give some platitudes, but Democrats across the country are going against the police departments, which is rising crime across the country.
Of course, the Democrat running for mayor of Los Angeles would say her George Floyd Justice and Policing Act increased police funding, but we don't have to get into it.
Let's look at the crime. I mean, we know the crime's up. We know that there's more looting.
Yeah.
We know this. We just saw Katie Porter say terrible things about the Irvine Police Department. I mean, there is a recurring theme across Democrats. Right now, because it's an election, they're going to pretend they're pro-police, but they've shown through their actions they're not.
Let's talk about inflation.
Sure.
I know this is, you think, the biggest issue. What specifically will Republicans do in office to reduce inflation?
A big thing is energy independence. I mean, we know that Biden on day one got rid of the Keystone Pipeline and stopped drilling on federal leased land. So by expanding our energy independence, which of course you use gas to do everything, right? Heat your home, you're using it for every product that you transport across the country. So by getting those prices down, everything will cost less. And also getting people back to work. We have a huge issue with people not going back to work because of the Biden policies of paying people more to stay out of the workforce. So we need to make sure that we're doing those things, and that will decrease inflation.
Of course, Republicans are highlighting inflation. Democrats are highlighting abortion as a big issue. We heard recently from Lindsey Graham, who said that if Republicans get in there, there will be a vote on a 15-week abortion ban. Should we take him at his word?
I think California has their law set, and we've seen it, and Democrats are going to try and make that an issue in your state, even though it's codified in your state. So most voters are not waking up thinking about abortion. Most voters every day are saying, can I fill my car with gas? Can I pay for groceries? Can I pay my electric bill? What's happening in my kids' school right now? Do I feel safe to get on the street? These are like huge issues. I find it very demeaning as a woman that Republicans view us as single issue voters. I have to think about everything as a mom. I have to think about the whole, the wholeness of my family. family. And gas prices are a huge issue right now, and I'm sick of being put in a corner as if we only care about one thing.
Isn't the point of a national ban to go over the states and
Well,
put that in place?
California's Prop 1 is a little extreme, right? It's going till the end of your term when a baby's due date is. I think most Americans do not think that that's the right course, that we shouldn't be having an abortion on your due date when that baby can live, and we know that. So your law right now is what, about 6 months viability? I think that Californians don't want to see that go to the 9th month.
So do you support the idea of a 15-week ban?
That's not up to the RNC. That's up to the individual voters. But I will say this, most voters across the country do not want to see 9-month abortions.
And so where do we go from here? What do the next few weeks of this campaign look like?
Well, we've already knocked 6.5 million doors, or made 6.5 million voter contacts in California. We have races all across this state, and we're going to talk about issues that matter to voters. And the one thing they have to remember is Democrats have been in charge here. Newsom's in charge of California. Biden controls the White House. Democrats control the Senate. Democrats control the House. And they are failing the American people. And they're demeaning the American people by ignoring the issues that everyone's dealing with, because everyone is struggling right now.
What do you make of Gavin Newsom making himself into such a national figure?
Well, I think Gavin Newsom really likes himself, and he wants the rest of the country to like him too, so he's putting billboards and spending money in other states instead of alleviating the problems in your state. You have the highest gas prices, I think, in the country, and I could be wrong on that. And you have a surplus, and that came from federal dollars coming into your state, and you have people leaving California in droves. So maybe stop spending so much time worrying about Florida and maybe focus on the people of California.
Why do you think, though, with all that in mind, and that is all true, that Republicans have struggled statewide, clearly done well congressional races in California, but statewide haven't won since 2006?
Well, I think the big ones that we had in 2020 are a precursor of what we're going to see. I mean, you have big pendulum swings. Obviously, California is the home to Ronald Reagan. But when you look at the Democrat Party becoming the pro-criminal, anti-parent, pro-inflation, anti-energy independence party, it's out of step with the majority of Americans. And right now, the Republican Party is talking common sense. We're saying you don't have to be a Republican or a Democrat to know that we shouldn't have gas at $5.79 a gallon, that we should have parents have a say in their kids' school, that our streets should be safe, we shouldn't have homelessness running rampant, we shouldn't have drugs at the level it's coming. These are the things that most families think make common sense, and that's why in California I think you're going to see Republicans have a surge.
Part of what we do on our show is we like to have a little bit of fun to get
Sure.
to know you. So this is called Personal Issues.
Okay, great.
These are 30 seconds, rapid fire, first thing that comes to mind to get to know your sort of cultural favorites.
Okay.
So here we go. What's your favorite TV show?
Grey's Anatomy.
Very nice. What's your favorite book?
It is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte.
Oh, nice. Classic. Who's your favorite president of all time?
Oh, I don't know. I have so many favorites.
Okay. Who's your favorite band or musical artist?
Imagine Dragons.
Very nice. Do you have a favorite Democrat?
No.
And you obviously come
I will say I also love your quarterback for LA, Matt Stafford, Detroit guy.
Oh, okay.
We love him. I'm from Michigan, from Detroit, and we loved him for so long, and we were really pleased to see him come here and win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Super Bowl champion.
And such a nice guy.
Such a nice guy. Last question. Obviously, you come from a famous family. Your grandfather was governor of Michigan, George Romney. Your uncle, the senator from Utah. What's the most important lesson you've learned from your family?
You know, my grandpa every Sunday had us over for dinner and just said, don't take our freedoms for granted. We're so blessed to live in this country. And when you're a kid, it's like, okay, Grandpa. But when you get older, you realize those valuable lessons. And one thing he did too is he took all the grandkids on a trip across the country to Grand Canyon and Yosemite and made us understand the beauty of this nation. And I know that exists, and it's why I do what I do, because I love this country. And I'm very worried about our future right now, and that's what the Republicans are offering, a better future for the American people.